All right, folks, welcome into the Can We Kick It podcast. I'm co-host Michael, along with Chuck here.
What's up, bro?
Not much, man, not much. Just living the good life of good TV back on.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey back into a great couple weeks of TV.
Oh yeah,
And a
yeah. Get
couple in March, it's looking great as well. So
Yep. Yeah, we got a nice schedule lined up, I think, for the podcast. We got some good shows on now, right? We're going to talk Severance. We're going to talk White Lotus. You starts up again on Netflix in 2 weeks, and then we got some other shows kicking off as well. Righteous Gemstones. We're going to get Nothing But Goggins for like 2 months, man. It's going to be amazing.
2026, the year of the Goggins.
That's right. Which I love his goggles. Walter Goggins goggle goggles or whatever they're called. Like that's like an actual goggles company.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blanca asked me like, so a little jump ahead. Um, and a little preview of White Lotus. She asked me, why does he always date women with big teeth? Like, I think that's only in Gemstones and White Lotus, but
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That is a nice little nod to Gemstones. Like that
and,
is hilarious.
and her
I
name's
thought it was the
Amy
same
Lee.
actress.
Her name's Amy Lee, like which is the sister in Gemstones.
Yeah.
But
So great.
yeah, yeah. Anything else you're watching right now? I know we're going to talk about Severance and White
No.
Lotus, but
No, hockey's on. It's the Four Nations face-off. USA versus Canada tonight, and the championship starts pretty soon. Pretty excited about that. Hope for World War III to break out again, like the first showdown. So that's all I'm watching. What about you? Oh, no, I have been watching. I finished Detroiters on
oh,
Netflix,
nice.
which was, dude,
It,
fantastic, dumb but fantastic.
oh, it's so dumb and fantastic. I love like. Do you remember Cecily Strong as Ross? I think it's the first season. Ross Chunks, who's like the mama lawyer,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
they're at when they sell the D2 Detroit t-shirts, and the son buys one because of what he like. He's like, I'll buy one because he's doing stuff all around the
The
house like as a
jerk rag.
teenager.
Yeah. Dude,
But
it's
he's
so great.
like, dude, that show is hilarious. It's insane,
It's
but
so good.
it's hilarious. Like,
It's got a
uh,
lot of good leave it jokes. Like they just throw them out, and you're like, wait, what? Like, oh, dude, it's
yeah,
cracking me up. Tim
yeah.
Robinson, Sam Richards.
Sam
Yeah,
Richardson, and
yeah,
they're
Richards.
the one where they go to like the like local Detroit ad agency awards, and like uh they're the only award that doesn't have Kid Rock.
The D,
Yeah,
the
the
D
D
Awards.
awards.
Yeah, yeah.
The music and every one of theirs, but theirs is Kid Rock, and their their ad is Rick Mahorn in it for a piston, and like they like shit on him in another episode, like that he can't act, and so he goes to acting school. It's
He
just
goes to local acting school and then like becomes amazing, and he's like, "Fuck you guys."
they
Yeah,
see him in like a play, like he's in the theater. I mean, it's just the the show is insane, and it's just it's so good. It's two
it's
seasons, and
so
it's
funny.
just an easy funny watch.
Yep,
Um it's
it's
too
amazing.
funny, guys.
Yeah,
Good cast.
yeah.
Jason Sudeikis, or yeah, no,
Sudeikis.
Sudeikis, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He plays
yeah.
the head of Chrysler marketing. Yeah.
Carter, yeah, Carter,
Carter
the head of
Grant.
Chrysler.
Yeah, yeah.
And they hit him with a car in like the first episode, and they throw him in the woods and put a Lay's back over his head.
And then later, like in the second season, he like gets his revenge and does the exact same thing to them. It's so fucking great.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally
Detroiters,
worth the watch.
definitely. It may not be some people's taste. I freaking loved it. I was laughing my ass off at some stuff.
Yeah.
But between that and Bookie on HBO or Max, whatever you want to call it, I'm calling it
Hmm.
HBO from now on. That gets my ass. Bookie, which actually just got announced that it is canceled, so there will be no
Oh,
season
wow.
three. Yeah, and it's got really good ratings and reviews. So I don't know what Max is doing, but they just dumped it. So I'm halfway through the second season and I'm laughing. So
Nice. I still haven't hit that. Like the only other things I've been watching besides soccer is and golf is uh yesterday I just rewatched the second season of Eastbound and Down. It's
Mm,
one of, I mean, all four seasons are great. But just watching some Danny McBride ahead of Gemstones. But
yeah,
I don't know, the second season they're in Mexico, or he's in Mexico, is one of my favorites. It's like
yeah.
um just so uh
It's over the top.
just so
It's
so over the top.
yeah,
Uh So it's definitely and like what's Michael Pena's in it too. Like
yeah,
he's like a
yeah.
great actor. And he's the owner of the Chatos, the
Yeah.
base Mexican baseball team. But yeah. Um and then also Sunday night after the White Lotus, uh last week tonight with John Oliver restarted.
Mm.
So I don't know if you watched that.
Oh,
It's on like season 11 or 12, but it's like a half hour kind of weekly news comedy in the vein of the Tonight Show. I mean, not Tonight
yeah,
Show, but the Jon Stewart
yeah,
show,
yeah. The
whatever,
Daily Show. Yeah, yeah,
the Daily Show. Yeah, so he
yeah.
was on that for a while as a correspondent, and but he's really good and tell um, news stories in a very digestible way, in a funny way, and kind of an outlandish way. I think if you're, I think people would see it as generally like left leaning, but to
Yeah,
me, he's
yeah.
kind of just very logical, um, and logically breaks down like the topic and with some comedy too. So uh, we watch that like every Sunday. And
Nice.
it's a good show. It's on Sunday nights on HBO Max. So,
Yeah, that's
but yeah,
always that's been around for yeah 10, 11 years. Yeah, it's a staple for HBO, especially with the Daily
yeah.
Show going away. Or now it's somebody else, but yeah. So
As Blanca calls him Noah Trevor, but Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah, yeah, that's
She,
it.
she's like, "What's that show with Noah Trevor?" And I'm like, "Trevor Noah."
Yeah. God, and the hockey game is starting, and they open the whole thing with this scene from Miracle with um
This ain't the '84 Olympics.
yeah, that's what they're preaching it as, dude. It's insane. Yeah, like you earned it here tonight, boys. Like it's insane. Anyways, um, yeah. So I'll have to check out John Oliver. I've seen it on there, and I've always thought it was left leaning, but you know I do like who's the other guy that's got a show on HBO? Is it Bill?
Bill
Not
Ma,
Bill. Yeah, Bill Ma. Yeah, I've always
Bill
kind of
Ma.
liked him because he's pretty logical too. So I
Yeah,
should
and
check out John Oliver.
I would say he's probably more right leaning, maybe a little bit,
Interesting.
but I think, I mean, that's how I always perceive him. But
Hmm.
I think he's logical too. I mean, I think
Yeah.
for me, to me, like, just don't be full of shit. Like,
Yeah.
be logical, even if you have a like, if you're leaning one way or the other. So I think that's
Don't just
where,
don't just keep regurgitating the party line. Like just be
yeah,
logical. Yeah.
yeah. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think both sides go over the top on a lot of
Yeah.
things, but I think, um, when you can break down something logically, it's good. But
Yep.
speaking of non-logical, Severance and White Lotus, what are we going to talk about first?
I say let's start with White Lotus. I think Severance is the big hitter. It's like it's coming out of the staple still, but White Lotus I think will be an easy get through because we'll just set the table, right? I think White Lotus starts every season with somebody getting killed, right?
Yeah,
Um, and then it sets the table with them arriving to the island or the resort, excuse me. So let's start with White Lotus, and this is the third season. It's the first episode. And ironically, it's named Same Spirits, New Forms. So nod to continual structure of the show. Uh, I do want to start with the opening, right? We do open the show like we do every season with somebody getting killed, and this time we see this kid who turns out his name is Zion, is trying to do meditation with one of the resort staffers, and he's like going in and out until he starts hearing gunshots. and that's like when all the hell breaks loose. And I love how the like hotel staff just like takes off and leaves him. Like it's
Hmm.
every man for himself. And he's like, "Oh, I gotta find my mom," and come to find out, like he's Belinda's son, right? He's in
Yeah.
town. He finished finals, but he's got something on his mind. That's why he's trying meditation. We don't know what yet. Probably dropped out of college. That's what my money's on. Or pregnant, or some life-changing decision, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
think, yeah, I think the only difference, I think, well, go more in because I
yeah, yeah.
think,
Yeah, and it kind of
um,
keeps with the theme of this season, right? Is like he's like, "Oh, I got to make my way to my mom," and of course he like stomps through the water, not quiet at all, hilariously. But then like winds up at a shrine, and he's like praying like for his mom's safety, and then he's like, and then he makes like a spiritual threat. He's like, "I swear to God, if she's not okay, like, blah 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 blah." I can't remember everything, but um, that's pretty much when like a body floats up and he starts freaking out. We don't know who it is,
yeah.
obviously. Typical White Lotus.
Yeah. I think my takeaway from that is, yeah, I had an initial view like, okay, I know he's going to kind of see what's happening and see if like he can locate his mom.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, he was kind of haphazardly going through. I mean, luckily he was in the low ground on the water, so he was kind of down a little bit,
Yeah.
but he seemed a little exposed. But my thing when he saw the body, he moved away. So I would
Yeah.
assume if it's his mom, he would have like grabbed,
Gone to
like
her. Yeah.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the only difference, the first season we saw Shane, um, like watching like in the airport watching a casket
Oh
get
yeah.
loaded
It was
into an
the end.
airplane, and
Yeah.
then the second season was um, you know, I don't know who. I think maybe it was Daphne or like
Yeah.
somebody finding it's like
Yeah. It
the
was Theo
the
James's
body.
wife who went
Yeah,
swimming and like
yeah.
ran into it.
So like this one is different a little bit because there's like a mass shooting event happening.
Yeah.
So mass shooting, I'm I'm kind of favoring the Americans at this point. As a typical we kind of lead the country in that. Uh so
Yeah.
I
Mass,
have some,
mass
yeah.
shooting or crossfire, talking multiple shooters from different directions, or somebody is a horrible shot.
Well, I mean, we're cross-cutting theory corner here, but
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
won't go into too much of that. But
Uh,
I immediately texted you saying, "I bet you um, the monkeys. I forget who even said that they shot, but um, that the monkeys were the murderers. They just found someone's gun. They stole Mook's, the guy that likes Mook's gun,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just started like waving it around and shooting everywhere. And um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's an interesting show because I don't think like I have I'm not like on Reddit trying to figure out
Nah.
um what happened. So
Same. I'm trying to enjoy it this time. I'm trying to come up with my
yeah,
own shit. Yeah. But
yeah,
that's that's the usual start for the show, right? Somebody usually dies. I mean, we don't first season we didn't actually see it happen. But yeah, I like how the show starts out. It does start the mystery off, but then it goes to the boat ride in, right? To the resort, to the island. It's usually on an island. Interesting.
yeah,
And this kind of sets the table for the show. And I've got the group of people, right, that we'll talk about. And we can do a little background, but won't go too much into the timeline of the episode. But we've got the odd couple, right?
yeah,
Which is Walton Goggins. He's playing Rick Hatcher, and his girlfriend, who is Amy Lou Wood, playing Chelsea. Um, Goggins is like a smoker, and he's looking for somebody we don't know. We are looking for something. Like he's got an agenda coming to the island. And his girlfriend is like British. She's like from Manchester. She's hilariously toothy, like
yeah.
Walton Goggins' wife in Righteous Gemstones. She seems to be pretty low maintenance. I don't know if low maintenance is the right word, but she's just like, I'm just here to have a good time. And he's like, can we get this over with?
Uh, she's a cool chick, man.
She is.
I love her. She's my favorite already.
Yeah.
Like no drama. She just is ready to chill.
She's like, yeah, can we just go like to the bar and drink? And he's like,
Well,
not
he's
hungry.
got he's got an agenda. He's there for a purpose.
Yeah.
And we learn that he is pulls up a picture on his phone. It's basically the creator of the wellness part of the White Lotus, who
Yep.
was an Asian actor, her American
Sri
husband.
Sritala. I couldn't pronounce her
Yeah,
name, but yeah, she's like the owner of like the spa at the White Lotus or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, super diva. Yeah, because she was like getting ready, and they were like, "Oh, come on!" They're like, "We can see the boat." She's like, "Tell them to circle the harbor," and it was just like, Jesus. Yeah.
Well, my guess is Walton Goggins. That's his father, and he's
Mm,
trying to track him down. And um, there's some kind of you know animosity there, but
I could see that. I could see that. Um, and then that kind of leads us into the family, right? Who Walton Goggins gets into with the father of the son because he's smoking on the boat, just chiefing a cigarette. But we got Jason Isaacs. He's playing the father, right? Timothy Ratliff. Um, dude,
question.
shady already.
Before you talk more about him,
Yeah.
I immediately thought of the perfect cast member instead of Jason Isaacs.
Ooh, Fat Damon.
No, no, no. It's someone who looks like him, but American.
Uh, who?
John Hamm. I
Oh,
saw that and
Jackie. Jackie said the same thing.
I'm like,
Yeah,
this should be John Hamm. John Hamm should be playing it. John
100%.
Hamm in this role would be like, I'm not saying Jason Isaacs is bad.
No,
He's
no.
obviously shady, but like, I mean, just watching Hamm and Landman walk around talking on a phone.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's got the swag to like blow people off, and he's like, no, no, no,
yeah,
no, no, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He like Jason Isaacs is trying to be. He's like wealthy. He's trying to be nice, but he's also like, okay, fuck off to everybody. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah.
yeah.
Um. Then you got
But
Parker
yeah, the
Posey's,
family.
yeah,
Yeah,
playing his wife Victoria, and she's just. This is my only comment. She's on another planet. I don't even know where where her character is in the show. She's just got. I'm gonna say it. She's got like the worst accent ever from like North
it's
Carolina.
well, yeah. I was doing some research on this, and apparently that's how a lot of people from Durham, North Carolina, sound. Um, because I went down a deep rabbit Reddit hole on this
Yeah,
one. Because someone was like, "Oh, it's a combination of Louisiana, Savannah," and she's from Louisiana, so
yeah, yeah.
I think she's probably trying a little bit, but it's definitely to me, it's kind of a generic Southern
Southern
accent, but
accent. Yeah, yeah.
it's
Like
it's
you,
hard to tell. Like,
she could dial it back 50% and it would probably be like perfect. Yeah. Just
just,
for TV.
I mean,
Just for
they
TV.
should have just
Yeah.
made it from Savannah and had a little,
Savannah.
a little
Like mo
Savannah. You either
like molasses
molasses.
is spilling out your mouth.
Um,
um, yeah.
but
And then
she went to North Carolina. He went to Duke.
yeah, yeah. And they've got three kids. There's Schwarzenegger's boy. Um,
Saxton.
playing Saxton, yeah. Then you've got Piper, played by Sarah Hook, and then Lachlan, who's played by Sam Nivola. And they're all three completely different people. Like all
Yeah,
their personalities are completely different. Yeah,
Saxton went to Duke like his dad. Piper's going to UNC like her mom, and that she's a reason for the trip because she
correct.
wanted to do a thesis on whatever Buddhist monk is nearby in nearby the resort because they usually go to the Caribbean.
Yeah, yeah. My God, that's
Um,
next season. That's next season. We'll get to Barbados, White Lotus, Barbados. Yeah.
is that what you think is happening, or is it we already know?
No, no, just
Oh,
guessing. Yeah, yeah.
um, I heard Norway actually
Whoa.
possibility. Yeah.
I could like
Um,
that.
yeah, that'd be different
Oh yeah.
for sure. But
Give me an ice White Lotus. Non-tropical. Give me a cold location.
Ice Lotus.
Ice
Um,
Lotus.
They all live in it's Ice Lotus Night Country.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely somebody getting murdered out of that one. Maybe supernaturally.
Yeah, all the cast of True Detective season 4.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, yeah. The youngest is like debating between Duke and UNC, and he's like, "Oh, maybe I'll use this time to figure it out." And his dad's like, "What's there to figure out? You're going to Duke." And it's just like, "Whoa, dude." Yeah.
yeah, and there's a weird sexual incestual energy between the three children.
Thank
Well,
you.
mostly between the two boys, and then the Saxon trying to basically said his sister's hot, but hasn't been laid, and
Yeah.
then is jerking it in the bathroom, like door open in front of
He's like, "Oh shit, let me
Lachlan.
close the door." And it's just like, Jesus, dude. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's some subtle clues that Lachlan, may be gay. Like there's like he's walking around the pool and he looks at the guy and then he's staring at
Yeah.
his brother a little bit and then
Yeah.
he doesn't turn away when his brother's with the door open.
And he
Um,
And he like I think yeah, there's something very incestuous. I'm glad you brought this up because I was getting that vibe, especially like with the sister, like Piper and Lachlan at first, because like he was like, "Oh, I'll go with you to the temple first," and then like when he leaves her, which yeah, great idea, leaving her alone in Thailand. He's like walking away and he like looks back. I don't like maybe she knows he's gay and he's like very nurtured by her, but it's a weird dynamic that they got going on because the older brother is just big old horn dog. Has to work like his dad, but he's a big old horn dog.
yeah, what do you say? Like long flights make me horny or something when he's laying by the
Yeah.
pool,
Well,
like
he's like, yeah, tugging one
grabbing
off at
himself
the
in front of his
pool.
brother. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, so weird.
No game at all, which was funny. And trying
Zero.
to hit on um
The
so
Cougars. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's gonna be an interesting family to follow.
yeah, very. Um, then that leads us into the girl trip, right? There's three friends: Michelle Monaghan, Leslie Bibb, uh, Carrie Coon. Michelle Monaghan plays Jacqueline, who's apparently some kind of TV star, and I don't know if they like party once a year or they haven't partied in a while, but her and Leslie Bibb, who plays Kate, are just on the same
Yeah.
energy wave where they're just like stroking each other's ego like crazy. Just one big compliment off. And Carrie Coon is like the outlier. I don't know if she's got married and had kids or just isn't as successful as the other two, but she feels really like a third wheel to this twosome. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we know like yeah, Jacqueline's a famous TV star. Obviously he's funding the trip. And then Leslie Bibb's character, Kate, is a rich, like, I don't know, she married wealthy, was in Texas, you know, seemingly got a lot of money. And then Carrie Coon is I think struggling a career,
Yeah.
lives in New York though, but kind of struggles. And I think, you know, I personally don't agree because I think I like Carrie Coon and Michelle Monaghan better than Leslie Bibb, but I think the setup is Carrie Coon's kind of like the ugly duckling out of the three,
Yeah.
and
She doesn't
you
look
know,
like the other two. Yeah, she for sure
mhm.
like yeah. Um I don't know what's going to happen there. Well, I mean, I do know what's going to happen there. That all three of them went on this trip friends. They're all going to leave not friends. I'm already calling that.
Yeah, they're gonna get into winesty conversation with all the drinking, and then
Yeah,
um,
that's when the
tell each other
honesty
how they
comes
really
out.
feel. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
alcohol brings out the truth, um, and we're gonna see that, and you can see, um, you can already see kind of the other two when Carrie Coon goes up to the room, seemingly, you know, carrying on. Carrie Coon cries, and
yeah.
so yeah, there's definitely more. There's gonna be some shenanigans around that
Yep.
uh
That
thruple.
yeah, then that leads us into I'm gonna start with just a high level hotel staff. We've got the owner lady, right, who's the diva, that's Sritala. And then there's Guy Tuck, which is the security guard who's got the hots for
Hmm.
the hostess, Mook. Um, Clearly a big softy, wants to be a tough guy, intimidated by tough guys with the private security like hitting on Mook or talking to Mook, whatever. Maybe
Yeah.
we get a jealous shooting rage. I don't know. And then you have Mook, right, who's the hostess, which I don't have much on her to begin with, but those are like pretty much the staff that we get to start with.
Yeah. And then we have the two locals that come down to the bar and restaurant for food and drinks. Um, I
Yes,
don't know her
yes.
name. I don't know her
Uh,
name, but she makes friends. Do you have the
Chloe.
name?
Yeah, her name is
Chloe.
Chloe, and she befriends Chelsea, our toothy
Yes.
British siren.
Yeah. And her compliment is, I love your teeth.
Yeah,
Or it's
just
like
yeah, straight up honest. Like, and they're like, let's get hammered. Um,
it
because Chloe doesn't like hanging out with her boyfriend because he's just a middle age,
he's an
boring.
LBH.
Yeah,
He's a loser back home.
yeah.
New
Um,
terminology.
he's just a
As you see all
bald.
the bald white guys
Yeah,
at the resort.
exactly. Who it turns out is Greg from
Greg.
season
Yeah.
Uno and Dos.
Yeah.
Tanya's, I wouldn't say former husband or widow, considering we know that he had a hand in having her attempted to be killed. I don't think I would call that successful directly, but I would say a successful failure.
I mean, she's dead,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean,
I
she kind of
mean
killed herself.
yeah, I mean to be honest, he didn't I mean, he didn't murder her. She fell off a boat.
Yeah, she
But
just blindly shot her way off a boat and then hit her head and died. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
um,
so I
and
was
then
people were like was suspecting that she's back and she wrote it down. I'm like,
no,
what?
no, I
No,
can't imagine.
yeah. So the only
Um,
go ahead.
Yeah, and then that just leaves like we talked about Belinda, who's in Thailand to learn from the spa, right, for training because that's like her calling. She's got her
Yeah.
son Zion, who we talked about was like the opening of the show. He's in town. He doesn't know what he's doing. That pretty much rounds out the cast that I had.
Yeah, I think you covered it. I think the only other thing the White Lotus like, so this season is 8 episodes. Last year was seven, season one was six. So we get a little more run room in this. So first
Get an
episode was
aider.
kind of slow, but it's setting the scene for, and it gives you basically who everybody is in a sense of why they're there, in a sense of their creepiness and personalities. Um, Not digging the new theme song,
A
the
lot of people are saying
slower.
that. A lot of people are saying
So
that.
I was like as the starting, I was standing up already starting to I was doing this. I was waiting to just for
Waiting
it
for the
to
turn.
the beat to drop and
Yeah, yeah,
like I just sat back down and like almost started crying. It was very
yeah,
sad.
yeah. I'm
Um
I'm cool with it. It's everybody was hyped about it. I had low expectations. Because how do you replicate the banger from season two? You can't.
I
You just can't.
I think I think the in retrospect looking at it, the greatness of it is like the theme song for season three like represents what I would suspect a resort
Yeah.
atmosphere in Thailand versus like Italy. Like my 20s going to Italy with my previous company and playing soccer and all that was like I was, Naples, Salerno, all along the coast, and Livorno, Pisa, and Tuscany. And like we were always out at night and it was like you know, like Euro dancing, it was
Yep.
like doom. It was like the
It was bumping. Yeah.
discotheque, so it was, you know, it I think it reflective the kind of like a more aggressive, like cool in your face like vibe of Italy versus like laid back Thai resort. But
And you got to think of the theme of the season, right? Because the theme of the season is like a little bit religion, a lot of death,
yeah,
it's from what we've read. So it's more somber with a little bit of beat at the back end. And last season, right, was a full on banger because you got Theo James and Aubrey Plaza, and it's just a full on rager, right? Like Tanya's going to parties with a bunch of gay people, like she's killing it, right? It's a party, ultimately kills. Um, but yeah, I wasn't surprised that it was a slow burn. So yeah, but you never know. They could change it. They could change it.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it progresses throughout the season.
Yep. Anything else on White Lotus?
No, glad it's back.
Yep.
It's a good show to enjoy.
Yep.
So
Yeah, glad they snuck Greg back in there. We didn't know what was we
but
thought only Belinda would be the returner, but Greg
yeah,
is snuck in.
one last thing on Greg, and even this, I saw some theories which was kind of intriguing, but I don't think there's a teaser for the second episode where it looks like Belinda recognizes Greg, but it's just a teaser, so it'll be false. But a lot of people are speculating that this is actually a prequel to season one because Belinda, like during season one, she's like doing you know, some of the whatever the Thai language and all that at the resort. And um so it could be like she was there training there before she went back to Hawaii. Her son, but other people said, oh, her son sounds younger in the first season. Um, I mean, it could be a couple years, so it could be in college too. So,
I
um,
would absolutely love it to be a prequel. That would be an amazing twist to this thing.
yeah, I guess we'll find out next week if shows up and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Greg, how's Tanya doing?
Yeah, where's
Oh,
Tanya
she's
at? Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
She's dead."
Yeah. Who's this British chick you were here with? Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah,
She's French or whatever she was. She was a model. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
so super interesting theory. I like that. I like that. I like that.
yeah. That's I just wanted to toss that in there,
Yeah.
but it's really not. I think it'd be pretty cool if it all tied back, but we'll see.
Yep. Yeah, then that leads us into Severance, right? Season 2, episode 5, Trojan's Horse. Um, love how this episode opened with a guy coming to get some kind of medical tools. We don't know surgery. I mean, the guy was credited as doctor in the credits, but he was
Yeah.
getting either some kind of dental tools or surgical tools. We don't know from O&D, and he
Hmm.
texted me because I didn't know it. He was he was whistling a nice little tune to the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yes, yes. One of my favorite
Super
from
creepy.
the best Canadian singer ever, Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah,
Um,
I heard it was ran
and
by the
I
Cat
also,
Stevens. Seinfeld reference.
it, yeah, this I texted you this too, right? Like I said, I think I solved it. They were all sailors who died during the wreck of the MS Fitzgerald. That's
Yeah.
the whole severed floor. But
Hell yeah.
yeah, it is interesting. And like I also went down a Reddit rabbit hole. Everybody was trying to dissect the words and like, more credence that people think this is taking place in the Upper Peninsula and Michigan.
Hmm.
Um, like, and that when Kier's standing in the video above there, it looks like the Great Lakes. And
And you
so
kind of get into the Canadian wilderness, right? Because you've got just vast swaths of forestry. Yeah.
well, and it's all being filmed like in upstate New York, but
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
also looks like the Canadian wilderness, which looks
True.
like the Vermont wilderness, which looks like the New Hampshire wilderness, which looks like
Right. Yeah.
the Canadian wilderness.
Yeah.
It all runs together when you get up like upstate. But um, yeah. So go on.
Yeah. Nothing else on the O&D guy. Yeah, the export. And so he takes the tools to the export floor. And that's the last we
Yeah.
see of that guy. I thought it was Ben Stiller at first, just the way he was walking and his face was covered and kind of had the salt and pepper and kind of the same frame as Ben Stiller, but nope, it's some other guy. So uh kind of glad they didn't throw Ben Stiller in there. I don't know how would have taken that, but okay. Um
Ben Stiller's a doctor from Happy Gilmore.
100%. Yeah. Hal L.
Yeah. Uh,
Um And then, there's a lot going on, but from rewatching the episode, Mark has got Ragabi living in his house to keep it on the down low, that they're doing reintegration on Mark, because she's like, oh, we don't want people to see her coming and going, which means maybe somebody's watching Mark.
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, and she's got him like on a strict vitamin regimen for his reintegration. He's drinking some kind of drink and he's taking a bunch of pills, which we didn't see him take in the first season. So I'm assuming this is all have to do with reintegration, what Petey didn't continue. So,
Yeah.
and then we get to see Helena back at the Lumen headquarters talking to Mr. Frolic and Curls. I can't remember her name.
Natalie.
Natalie, about, they want Helly to go back to the severed floor, and Helene is really pushing to impersonate again, and they're like, nope, it's already they're already on to you. The only way to let this go through is to have Helly go, and it's apparently really important that Mark finishes Cold Harbor. Um, so that's that they're really pushing at her, and she concedes. Right, we see her go down as the elevator as Helly, which is her first time for her
Yeah.
any to be back on the severed floor since season one.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Um,
kind of a little confused and trying to get caught up on what's going on.
Yeah. Last thing she remembers probably was the party, unless they interrogated her. I have a theory they interrogated her. But nobody trusts her, right? Now that she's on the severed floor, they know her outie is an Egan. Irving blew the whistle on that. R.I.P. Who's not around.
Hmm.
Um, Mark doesn't tell her that they hooked up. He's keeping it very distant. He's definitely got trust issues now. Um,
Oh yeah.
and Mark, of course, is like just wanting to get back to work, and he's basically telling Mr. Milchick like the whole episode to like go fuck himself, almost. I don't know. He's
Yeah.
really cold to everybody. It's great.
Yeah, I think his whole any world is blown because he fell in love with Helly,
Yeah.
you know,
Who
his any
wasn't
did.
Helly? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she was Helly in the first season,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then he fucked outie Helly or
Yeah,
Helena. I think that's got him all messed up. So
for sure. Yeah. Which I find this is all about identity crisis in this episode, right? Mark is trying to figure out his deal. Um, Helly feels super violated that her outie would impersonate her, even though they're the exact same person, but not really.
yeah.
Super wild concept. But yeah, she's like, how dare she like pretend to be me? And it's like, you are her. Um, and so there's like this somber mood going on, right, on the floor, on the MDR floor, and so Milchick decides to agrees to let them have a funeral, which I think was proposed by Dylan or Mark, I can't remember. And that's where it gets weird because they go to the break room and it's been turned into like a funeral home where they all give speeches and eulogies for Irving, and
Hmm.
they have a melon from Singapore carved into the shape of Irving's head. Very realistic for a melon, which they then get to dine on. Super weird. Um,
Yeah.
anything
A
that you can
great,
think of.
great melon.
Yeah,
Um,
killing it in the melon bar. I don't know who's doing that, but they're amazing.
yeah. I think what they gave him like, and did they give him like a time limit to be there and do that? But I know Miss Wong says tells Milchick that um he shouldn't allow it. It will make them feel like they're human or they're alive.
Yeah.
Um, so it is interesting that the way, they kind of grieve for him because they don't know, they're basically like children. They don't know how to really react or
Yeah,
um
which they've never dealt with death as innies, and interesting because Miss Wong says like normally we have a funeral for people who die or bereavement
yeah,
event, whatever, for people who
yeah.
actually die on the severed floor. So it's like, okay, that's actually happened apparently.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, it's like, how many, what, how many people have died on the severed floor, and did they kind of just reset? If like somebody dies in MDR, do they reset the whole crew?
Right?
Or, well, I mean, they have a bereavement thing, so
Must
this
not, but
must happen. It
just
must
imagine
keep
like
people,
somebody
yeah.
dies of a heart attack on the severed floor, and it's like, oh, his outie never knew.
Yeah,
Weird.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, they all give their speeches. Mark and everybody kind of goes their own way, and Dylan kind of hangs back. And the last thing Irvin said to Dylan was, you hang in there, right? Very unusual, kind of out there thing to say, but they
Yeah.
had a connection. And then that's when Dylan is like leaving the break room after he like says goodbye to the melon head. But notices he like turns around and notices like there's a motivational like poster that says like hang in there. And he goes and like looks at it and then finds like the drawing of the exports floor elevator behind it with directions to the
Yeah.
elevator that Irving left. So Irving's been playing a game, man. He's no longer the
Yeah.
straight shooter we knew him as.
No, I mean, I think towards the end, I mean, from what we saw early on, um, the messages his Audi has been leading him through painting all night seemed, and then him falling asleep and seeing the black goo and kind of seeing what's going on and waking up outside and um he flipped and he's like the elder statesman in there and he
Yeah,
understands that and so he left Dylan the directions to the export elevator. So we'll see if that comes to fruition in the next episode or two.
right.
Um, see how that'll play out.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, then we get, I'm sure there's some, it may not be in order, but we get Milchick has his monthly review with Mr. Frolic, and
yeah,
it's
Mr.
weird as
Drummond.
shit. Yeah, Mr. Drummond. Um, he gets chastised for putting paper clips on backwards. Uh, his excessive use of big words and
Yeah,
his lack of control over MDR, basically for coordinating the outdoor retreat that ultimately wound up with uh, Irving getting fired and the heir to the company almost killed.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not the performance review that I'd want to get.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it
I,
it is interesting, like how everything that he's doing is turning into a shit show.
yeah,
Um, and especially having him in charge of this team whenever Mr. Drummond says the completion of Coal Harbor will be remembered as one of the greatest moments in the history of the planet.
yeah. Is this not important?
Like, so, I mean, I- if it's that important, why is Mr. Drummond or the board or like, I mean, I love Tramel Tillman and Milchek and actually like him in charge more than Miss Cobell, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Maybe it's
so
too drastic a change putting new leadership in for Mark to be able to complete Cold Harbor in time. Because remember, they have a quota like for the quarter. It's really weird.
when he's like, what do they say, 78 or 81% done? I forget the
Yeah,
exact number. Like, I mean, he's
yeah,
almost there.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, we won't find out obviously till I think episode 10 is called Cold Harbor. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, I mean, we're not going to find out next episode,
It's
you
the
know.
sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald
Yeah. They're
in a
just going to
cold
be
harbor.
they're going to be in an orb bow on a ship in the lake and the song's going to be playing again. Um,
Awesome.
but
Um, yeah, it's really weird for Milchick. I agree. It's if it's this important, we're just keeping the leadership of MDR just at 50% capacity. You've got like a 12-year-old and a guy who can't control the meter in charge. I don't understand what's going on.
well, you've got a secret clone child of Gemma and Mark as Miss Huang. Come on. That's my new theory is that she's their kid or like some kind of
Yeah,
clone of Gemma
Gemma.
or there's
Yeah,
there's something uh something
it's
peculiar about
yeah,
her.
it's super weird. Yeah, and so Mark is. obviously trying to get back to Cold Harbor. He's wanting to avoid anything personal, especially that has to do with Helly. Um,
Yeah.
so he's just really focused on Cold Harbor. Um, we see, oh yeah, then they didn't like Rickon. I forget Rickon has like a 5 minute like segment in this episode where he's just clicking away at typing the new book for the Severed Innies for Lumen.
Yeah. Devin and him are talking about it, and she's reading some of the book and like, this is propaganda. You're just writing what Luminous tell you. It's not even like it's complete opposite of your
Yeah,
actual book.
he's completely like 180 flipped, and he's like a corporate structure believer, and like now
Yeah.
he's
So
full on corporate
Natalie
kiss ass.
says that they react better to structure.
Yeah.
It's like,
And so now Rickon's going full in on it, right? The guy is like a sheet in the wind. He blows whichever way the wind is blowing, but especially when there's money involved, clearly. If they want to
yeah,
keep living the lifestyle that they are living.
yeah. And I mean that's I think all of us face that choice every day
Yeah,
in real life. So I mean like everybody has their dollar amount,
right. Everybody's got a
you
price.
know.
Everybody's got a price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people that
Um,
say they don't have a price, they usually have the lowest.
oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I can't be bought for anything. All right, that works.
Yep.
So
Yeah, there's no negotiating there. And then the last two things that I have on this episode, I think the big piece, right, is Irving's Audi. Um, Dude is on
Burving.
a Burving. Irving is like always going to this phone booth, which is like away from his house, and having cryptic conversations or leaving messages. Um, but ultimately, like I think we hear him say like he knows what his innie was up to. We don't know how. Maybe he's reintegrated. That's theory corner, but um, then he like runs into Bert, who's been watching him from his like Cadillac, uh, and he's like, "Well, you were a strange guy who showed up at my door, and we canceled our trip. So maybe you should come over and have dinner with us and explain the whole situation." Super weird, sure. And Irving's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm game for a throuple." Yeah.
And Bert said he got fired from Lubin for uh a unplanned erotic entanglement.
So he got fired. He didn't retire, like they told us. Everything Lumen says is a lie.
Yeah. No, I that's what at the time when he retired, you knew because they have cameras everywhere and you knew as soon as they started like holding hands and
Yeah,
uh it, it almost seems like they're they're trying to get to the point of like it's almost like cloning AI is getting them to where they're fully functioning human beings. Or you
yeah,
can't tell the difference, like Westworld, like you can't tell the difference between host and humans.
right,
And is that what Cold Harbor is? Is that
right.
what he's working on with Miss Casey Gemma is to put her back in the world, and be like, outing Mark, like, hey, your, you know, wife really isn't dead, but it's really like some AI clone version of her, and Ragabi doesn't know. She just assumes like she was really alive down there. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very interesting, but it seems like anytime anybody gets close, they're
They change it.
like to be like even Irving. I mean, obviously he tried to kill the founder of the company, but
Yeah,
he basically deduced what was a very complex problem and situation. Is that like
yeah.
the Turing test?
Right, right.
Was that his Turing test? And like we can't have him anymore. He's his any became self-aware or
Yep.
is able to do. I don't know. Just spitballing, but it is interesting, and we're gonna get more out, which is good because I don't want to lose Totoro and
Oh yeah,
Walken. I
no.
want to see them every episode. So
Yeah, you can't
them two
lose
on the
them.
outside
Yeah.
will be good.
Yep.
They're gonna
Um
show up with a team of lawyers at Lumen.
these innies demand to be together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um and then so the last thing I have to close the episode from what I can remember, and then I'll ask you if there was anything I missed. But Mark, we see Mark is back at his house. He's talking to Ragabi about hey, when do we try again or keep going on this reintegration? And Ragabi's like really kind of hesitant. She's like, maybe another day, right? How are your symptoms? And he says he's like fine, like nothing's wrong, but we've seen he had like an episode at work while he was working on Cold Harbor. Um,
Hmm.
and then he's like going to like turn he turns around from Mugabe and he's like and then he starts like blurring between his basement and Lumen and he like goes to
Hmm.
the break room door and then he like turns the corner and boom like Jim was like right there and then
Yeah.
it like cuts like from her face to his like Audi face and I think it's like full recognition by his Audi that yeah she's alive like he finally gets it like he's seen like her in real life in
Yeah.
Severed World. And that's for me, that's where the episode ended. I don't know for you if I missed anything or you had anything else on
No,
that,
I
but
think that I think you captured all the main moments that I had because you even got the Devin and Rickon piece in there.
yep, yep.
Um, so oh, we did have the encounter with Milchek and Mark in
Uh
the elevator.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Did you tell her? Yeah.
yeah, did you tell her he fucked her Audi on the Ortbo?
Yeah, because Mark was being like
Uh,
super sarcastic. He was like, "Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, I'll fucking blah 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 blah." And then Milchick was like, "Yeah, did you tell her you fucked her?" Yeah, I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
this guy's serious
No more Mr. Nice Milchek now.
for reals." Yeah,
Um, but I like the
yeah.
only other thing
It's
from
not Mr. Nice Check. It's Mr. Milcheck.
yeah. Um, the only other thing is the title like what's the difference between a Trojan horse and a Trojan's horse? Like, because even I love it when they say the title of a movie or a TV show in the show because
Fucking love it when
Rickon
they do that.
says it's a Trojan's horse, and I'm like, is that a pretentious way of saying it, or is that different than like the Trojan horse where
Oh,
they send the Trojan horse in and all the soldiers are inside and they kill everybody while they're in their sleep? Like, I think well, Rickon is saying his book is the Trojan's horse, right? He's going to lead the any revolution, but he's doing the
yeah,
corporate speak. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's well, I think it's probably multi-layered for sure, but I think it's Rickon's way of saying Trojan's horse because he is a fucking pretentious piece of shit. So instead of just saying like, yeah, I can't think of another example, but yeah, a Trojan's horse is a very highbrow way of saying it.
I'm just going to use that term like all the time now. When someone, Chuck, what's your thought on this? It's a Trojan's horse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
just be like, done. Like, don't even get an explanation.
Yeah,
And
just
then
leaving it right there.
and
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah, maybe it's an alternate reality where everybody's IQ is like down 20 points and like Rickon is like the smartest man on the planet. I don't know. That's weird, dude. I can't
yeah,
figure Rickon out. Yeah.
we don't even know what planet we're on, what time period we're on, if this
We
is a
don't know.
computer simulation.
We don't know if this is a Confederate state. We have no idea. Like I've seen so many theories about where they're at. Um, it's
Next
wild.
episode, we're gonna see Audi Bert and Audi Irving at a KKK rally. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
with
it's a
General
weird.
Lee.
Yeah, it's what was that show where it was an HBO series. It was a one season thing where Lindbergh became president and then he like sided with Hitler. Maybe that's in the same universe. Like super weird.
Or it's the afterverse of um that show I liked, Man in the
Oh,
High Castle.
yeah. Oh, no, that was a good show. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of theories with this show. I don't even know where to begin. I every time I think I have it figured out, they pull a 180 on me.
Yeah, I just get more confused. So I stopped kind of trying to read too many spoilers
Yeah.
because most of it's garbage. And I think even um like Dan Erickson came out like last week and said, yeah, no one's got it. no one's got it right on Reddit.
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
I think
fuck
he said like
every
people are close, but they're not. They ain't got it. Yeah.
oh, but I don't know if you keep up so like with the podcasts that Ben Stiller and Adam Scott
Oh.
do, like the official podcast is great.
Yeah.
Um, but so I listen to that. It comes out on Friday. So listen to that, and they have like guests. You know, they had on the Goat Lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, they had on the guy who does the music. They have different people on each week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then Dan Erickson was on, I think, the first or second one talking about stuff. And then, um, but it's good. Zach Cherry does a thing at the end of the episode, and it's like he says, or they're like, Zach's going to give us what's going to happen next week, and he's like. Next week, the Audis go to the beach where they learn how to put on sunscreen, and like he just makes up some random like story. It's funny as shit. Like,
That's
and then
awesome.
they're like, does Zach even watch the show? They're like, they always joke like that he just reads a line. He has no idea what the show is about because he's on like five TV shows or something.
That's awesome. I got to check that out. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a good podcast to listen to. And then, but Ben Stiller is also funny on Twitter. Like, I just see screenshots and stuff.
Oh
And
yeah, he like responds to like trolls and shit.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, someone was like complaining about something. He's like, "You're really not going to like the next episode either," or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
he's so. I mean, it's good because they're really engaging with the show.
Yep.
Um, you know, I think now almost every show has official podcast because I think even White Lotus has an official podcast that comes out Sunday night after each episode. But
Yep.
um, you almost kind of need that with the Severance, and they do give little nuggets that kind of kill some of the theories. I won't
Yeah.
go into too
Yeah.
much of it, but um, they are a little basic sometimes because they don't want to give things
Yeah.
away. But they did say Audis actually or the innies actually consume food. So,
Yeah. I
we
read
never
that
we never see them
somewhere.
eat, but
Uh.
they've said that on the podcast and they
Yeah.
explain how they get their meals. So, it's good as supplemental
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
stuff.
If you
But
got some, yeah, yeah, yeah. Existential questions. Yeah. It sounds pretty good. Yeah.
I listen to it on my Saturday morning runs. So
Nice.
it's like an hour and it's perfect. It's just nice and easy. And then I listen
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listeners, one. All right,
Yeah.
that was me.
Oh man. Anything else on Severance?
No, we're recording on Thursday, so I'm gonna watch the next one probably in about 10 minutes. So
Soon as this
um
hockey game is over, unless it gets out of hand, I'm throwing it on tonight.
yeah. What's the score?
1-0 Canada. Yeah, they scored
Oh,
in the first 5 or 6 minutes. I can't remember, but yeah, it's 1-0 Canada. It's early. It's early.
no fight yet?
No, no, nothing. I'm hoping for a third period fight if it's real close. Yeah,
Or well, if Canada's up like 3-0, like America, we're just gonna start
full
like
on. Yeah,
brawling. Yeah, take those tariffs.
exactly. So yeah, man. Looking forward to it to the rest of the game. Looking forward to. We're halfway through Severance. We just finished episode
Yep.
5. Tonight, tomorrow is Attila episode 6 for a 10 episode season. And we're gonna get 8 episodes of White Lotus. So tune in for that, people. We're gonna have a full schedule coming. Chuck's gonna be in the UK for a little bit next month. We're also gonna talk Oscars coming up. So get ready for that, people. We got Oscars predictions for at least the top categories. We won't go through all of them, but we got some top categories.
Who's better Oscar? Oscar Bluth or Oscar the Grouch?
Oh, Bluth, 100%.
Of course. No.
Oh man. Any other anything else from Cousin?
No, man. Cousin.
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 Yeah.
We need the bear back.
We
Oh,
do.
one thing I did hear is that Silo season 3 is supposed to come out this year by
Holy
the
shit, that
like
would
in
be
the
amazing.
third or fourth quarter. Yeah.
Maybe they've
So
been
I read
filming
that
it, yeah, with
they
the
did.
past
They
cast.
read or they either were doing two and three at the same time, or they're doing three and four. I was reading something about
Hell
that.
yeah.
So,
That could be awesome.
yeah,
That could be awesome. Silo.
yeah,
That's gonna be a banger closer. Yeah, I got to finish the third book. I know you blew through it. Yeah. Um,
yeah. I read it in 2 days.
yeah. That's how good this stuff
600
is, people.
pages. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh
I am
man,
a
but
certified speed reader, though. That's the only thing, but
true that.
that helps.
Yeah.
So I'm on my seventh book this year already.
Jeez. It's February,
Yeah,
dude. What the hell? Yeah.
I know, I know. Well, I haven't read in like a week though. I need to get back into it. I was
Yeah.
sick like last week, so I couldn't even look at the screen. So,
Yeah.
but
But yeah, be sure to check out the podcast platforms. Check out the website, kickingitmedia.com. Check out the Insta. We're posting polls and stuff out there. Try to get better about posting new media on there. And as Cousin likes to say,
peace and love.